Welcome. This is Norma Gentili, and you are listening to my meditation podcast, Courage, Revealing Our Inner Truth. I think it's an important fact to look at today the exact energies that are moving in the world, especially around the U.S. election. The U.S. is not the only country that has decided to elect a strong man, an authoritarian, who is surrounded by very or extremely wealthy men. At this point, I'm just checking in with Archangel Michael because personally I could go off on a diatribe. But that isn't necessarily the most useful because there's a lot of people doing that right now. So what I can do is rest myself more into Archangel Michael's energies and into other energies that are available to us and offer some insights from them as well as some healing music. And because of what is happening and the chaos, I'd actually like to start with a song today. And just allowing those energies that may have been brought up during that song to gently release. Knowing that we are all being immersed into a very large bathtub of energies, some of which may resonate with our own life experience and then bring up and out of us a magnified awareness of that life experience. It's very possible that you have been feeling and recognizing old memories coming up for you, especially memories around being wronged, being gaslit, being told that as a child perhaps you had no say, that you had to do certain things that you knew intuitively and internally were wrong or not the right time for you. Part of what's happening externally in the world is to help us clear some of the unconscious truths that we still hold within ourselves. And an unconscious truth to me is something that may or may not be real. it may or may not be true. And that's the clarification. And that's the part about revealing the unconscious truth. So that each time we have a belief, a memory, something come up, that we can look at it and go beyond feeling the feeling of it and get a sense of, were we truly wronged, or were we truly not behaving accurately, or were we truly in a point where our soul was trying to move through us and we were stifled by something externally. And oftentimes when the soul wants to move through us and it's been stifled in the past, we anticipate that that stifling is going to occur again. And so we stop ourselves from expressing what the soul truly wants to express through us. Now, this can also happen when we are adults, and as we move through and try to let our soul move through us as adults, we can feel that old rut within our energy field. And I call it a psychic rut, or an energetic psychic rut, because we've never been able to do that before. It's always been painful. So when the soul urges us to do something, our first reaction is, no, that's going to hurt. I'm not doing that. The second reaction, actually, if the soul continues to prompt us to do that, could be to shut down our ability to even hear the prompting from our soul. That's what we're working with right now in the world. We have, out of necessity, in order to avoid pain, shut down so many promptings from our souls, and some of them are small, some of them are large, some of them may no longer serve us. Life has moved on, people have moved on, we're in a different situation. But letting ourselves do more than just awaken to our soul's journey, but tag those places where we may be not listening. We may just be shutting ourselves off from hearing the prompting of the soul because in the past it's been so painful. That's what we're up to right now. We have energetic psychic patterns throughout our whole body that reflect those times where our soul's promptings were shut down. And keep in mind, it's not just about when a parent has shut us down, or a boss, or a spouse, or something like that, but rather it's about those times now where we have shut ourselves down in order to avoid the pain that we anticipate. And I want to talk more about that and about bullying in just a second. What I want to do first, though, is create a sacred grid of energy. So if you would, follow along. You may notice something, you may not notice something. We're going to do it now, and we'll do it at the very end of the meditation. Find the walls, the floor, the ceiling of the room that you're in right now. Our rooms are used for so many different things. We're going to call forth the nature spirits of the room you're in right now, those that vibrate at their level of unconditional love. So the nature spirits of the room you're in right now that may help you sleep, study, enjoy yourself watching a movie, those nature spirits can just step on back and out. What we want are those nature spirits that vibrate at what they know as their level of unconditional love to step forward. Don't impose upon them what you think is unconditional love. Ask, where are those nature spirits of your room that vibrate at what they know as their level of unconditional love? And sometimes you'll feel a little flush, sometimes nothing as they step forward. And we're going to do the exact same thing for the footprint of the land beneath the room. Now, if you're in an apartment or on a second floor of a home or something like that, and you have a basement, go all the way down. Imagine that ground all the way down. And as you have that awareness of the footprint of your room all the way down in the land beneath you, we do the same thing, just welcoming those nature spirits that vibrate at their level of unconditional love to gently step forward. And then we welcome the pure energy of nature. This is the most soothing, healing quality of energy. It allows for all the aspects of our physical form to be nourished and to more deeply connect into the very core of those steady, wonderful, sacred energies within the earth. So welcoming that pure energy of nature to step forward, letting it combine with the nature spirits, that unconditional love in the room and in the land beneath, and just letting it form a sphere all the way around the room that you're in. And this sphere just reflects the unconditional love of nature. And as we allow these nature energies to truly come into our awareness at their level of unconditional love, something changes. Our body shifts. There is an aha sometimes about how much more gentleness, kindness, compassion we can experience. And we learn by first experiencing it from the external world, and then that awakens from within us our own ability to express gentleness and kindness, compassion, grace. One of the things that is most evident is that those people who are drawn to power simply for power's sake have lost their internal connection with this quality of energy that is compassionate, that is graceful. That there is a deep-seated fear and oftentimes a core of emptiness or a well of emptiness. For most of us, when we feel our body and someone says, "How does your stomach feel? How does your navel feel?" It may take a moment, especially if we've been running around doing things. Within a few minutes, we can find how our breath is moving our low body. And we have a sense of, are we at ease? Could we be more at ease? And if someone asks us a question, do you want A or B for lunch? Most of us would be able to answer that. If someone were to ask us a more involved question, that could be a challenge. If we're not fully in our body, we would simply jump to our heads and make a decision based on the belief system that we have. If I choose one way, it will create something. If I choose another way, it's going to create something else. But we're making the decision from our head. When we tune into the navel and the lower body and we ask, should we choose A or B, that lower part of the body might feel more tense with one thought and less tense with the other thought. That's the telepathy of the lower chakras talking to us. That's our lower body anticipating what's going to happen with choice A or choice B. Right now, many, many, many people who are usually plugged in there have pulled up and out. So those deeper decisions are harder and harder to make. In this way, pulling up and out of the low body also mirrors the energetic pattern of narcissists or bullies. And so our low body is scanning, looking, listening to what's going on in the external world. And we're hearing all this news, or we're sensing even just energetically what's going on. And our low body is telling us this is not right, this is not good, this is not yours. The low body isn't making a judgment. It's simply saying what you're noticing externally is not giving health to the body. It's not a quality of energy that your navel wants to engage with. It's not a quality of energy your grounding wants to engage with. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be aware of what's happening. It simply means we need to get ourselves back down and in more firmly, so that as our navel chakra, our lower chakras, telepathically, psychically pick up on what's going on in the external world, there's a balance. When that information is perceived, our body itself can know our own tuning and can know it so cleanly and so clearly that our body, our heart, our mind don't question what might be correct or what might not be correct. And I think we're getting better at this, but there's still a few layers where this is not quite working. And this goes back to the unconscious truths. When we are exposed to things as children in particular that repeat as adults, our body, our heart, our mind all begin to sense that this is not comfortable but appropriate. And this moment in time where we're really having to be in our bodies more fully is a wonderful opportunity to also be aware of the support system we have around us and inside of our structures. Energetically, we are meant to be habitating more than our sixth chakra or fifth chakra or heart chakra. And so I'm just bringing a deeper awareness again to those nature spirits of the room around us that vibrate at their level of unconditional love and to the pure energy of nature. And just asking them to gently clear, cleanse anything they can clear and cleanse. And the land beneath it, its level of unconditional love, those nature spirits at unconditional love, also clear and cleanse what they can clear and cleanse right now. By removing some of the litter, I want to call it, just sort of psychic debris, it helps us better tune into that quality of smoothness, of connectedness, that for most of us means our head, our heart, our body are vibrating and resonating within the same spectrum of energy. Gently breathe so that your navel and your low back move with the breath. It doesn't have to be a big breath. Just allow your navel to move a bit. Allow your low back to expand backwards. This allows the lower muscles of the body to move. And we're looking to do this at a quality that is very gentle. The process of inhaling is effortless. All we have to do is let go of the muscular tension in our diaphragm. The process of inhalation is effortless. All you need to do is release the tension in your solar plexus, in your diaphragm, in that space just beneath your heart. And you can easily do this by simply feeling the navel move as you breathe. Breathing as if you could breathe into your low back. And just allowing your body to create the inhalation and exhalation in whatever way your body wants to breathe. How does your body want to breathe now? Can you allow yourself to simply let go now of the breathing process? Just let the body do what it wants. And usually, in order for us to let go of controlling the body, our brain has to be busy doing something else. And just welcoming again those nature spirits, that unconditional love, the pure energy of nature, and the nature spirits of the land beneath to gently cleanse anything that your body, your soul is ready to release. I said I was going to speak a little bit about bullies, and it's an experience we've pretty much all had, being bullied. And like many behaviors, this is learned because one is usually bullied, or sees the dynamic and sees that the bully wins. And so in order to protect oneself, that behavior simply becomes the norm in any difficult moment, and then it becomes the norm in every moment. When Trump first walked across the world stage, my guides were very clear that his soul was offering a service. That service was one of enlightenment for the rest of us. And at the time, we tagged narcissism, and clearly that awareness of narcissism, gaslighting, has continued to evolve even while he was out of office the last 4 years. Now, that doesn't mean everyone has understood it or has decided that that is not an honorable goal in life to express. But it has moved forward, and I believe as a result, it is arising in people, and those people who don't have the tools to process their own fears are simply looking outward, seeing his success and saying, oh, that's how one should behave. That will get me someplace. And the fact that there's this, I would say, cowardice among other people. What I've heard said is that behaving in anticipation of what a bully will ask of you, rather than simply standing up to the bully when he first appears and saying, no. I want to share with you a special story. Many years ago, there was a court order put in place to release a number of people who had been convicted of drug charges and inappropriately convicted. A lot more people of color were convicted than nice white people like me. So when the sentencing guidelines were adjusted, a number of people were released. And as a result, my neighborhood had a number of adult children in their 20s moving in suddenly with parents because they had no place to go when they were released from prison. Very quickly, we had 2 gangs form. Now, this wasn't close by. It was a bit away. But one day when I was out on a beautiful spring day, tending gardens in the front lawn, and most of my neighbors happened to be out at the same time. We were talking back and forth at each other, and all of a sudden we saw this little parade walking down the street of very large dogs and teenagers led by an older-ish teen, young 20s. They were clearly telling us that they were taking over our block too. And oh my goodness, the power stepped forward. One of my neighbors who's a minister was right there, and he recognized the lieutenant. He called to the lieutenant by name, named the lieutenant's mother, and asked when the lieutenant was going to be at church. You can imagine what happened. All of that bravado, bullying, we're taking this place over energy just shrunk. There was no threat that we had to pose towards them at all. The bravado was simply called out as being what it was, fake and false. That was the one and only time we had anything happen. That was it. And so too, this process around Trump can deflate. We may not be able individually to go and speak with him and call him out in the same fashion, but the hedge around him, the group that surrounds him, some of them don't know any better. Truly, they don't. They have behaved as bullies their whole life, and this has worked for them, and look where it's gotten them. But most of them know deep down, just like Trump does, that there is a hollowness inside, that the navel chakra and the low chakras in their bodies are completely empty. They do not know who they are. The soul is literally floating outside right now of Trump's body. And it's fine, because this is something that we still need to understand. The more we can clear and understand while he is president, the least likely we are to have to repeat the pattern or continue the pattern under a different president. And so right now, let's just return to that state of calmness and healing by bringing up and talking about these things. We're literally like squeezing a tube of toothpaste and getting all of the patterns that we each naturally have in our life that resonate to this sort of bullying up into our awareness. And they may come up as memories or beliefs about what really works and what doesn't work. Or you can't possibly just deflate a narcissistic pattern, but you can. And that is a big piece of what we're learning, is how to maintain that sense of gentleness and grace, even when experiencing uncomfortable patterns of emotions and behaviors from other people. The one thing that a narcissist is deflated by is inattention. Lack of attention, lack of response. Having no response at all means those energies surrounding a narcissist are not getting fed. They simply get louder and louder and louder. You saw that leading up to the election. As Harris had more attention, Trump got crazier, said more outlandish things to get the attention back. So how can we as individuals find that lower body in particular and let our low body just release any additional patterns, energies? It might come as a heaviness or feeling like part of the stomach is blocked or an area around the hips is blocked. How can we feel that and just let the blockage dissolve? Just ask if that blockage is really yours right now in current time. Those larger muscles in the low body are great places to store emotions and energies around certain events that we had before we had language at age 2 or 3. And we still tend to store things there that we simply don't understand, that we can't process. So there's small amounts of habitual tension. And it's only when we sit quietly that we can find what is ours and comfortable and what is probably not ours and uncomfortable. So again, just breathe into the low back, breathe into the area around the navel, and just ask, how does this want to feel now? How does this want to feel now? How does your soul right now want to engage with your body? How does your soul right now want to support your physical body? Any place that your body is arguing, ask if that is truly your resistance. Any place that feels a little heavy, a little staticky, just ask, is it really you? Is it really yours? Our brain is not the only place in the body that stores memories, not the only place in the body that thinks. The intelligence of your body, especially low down, reflects those truths, those events that happened when you were a child, and the resulting beliefs and truths that you created based on those early events. Narcissism is something that my guides tell me has really flourished since the 1950s, most likely as one result of the unresolved PTSD of World War I and World War II soldiers returning home. So it is also a healing tool for us, a way to tap into our bodies more and more fully than we have ever done before in any lifetime before. Especially for those of us that incarnated into Western culture. We have many lifetimes of challenges of other incarnations in order to drop into the knowing and the intelligence in the low body that is innate for each of us. We are meant not to just be psychic in the head and neck and heart. We are meant to be psychic at all of the chakras. The more we tune in to the other half of our chakra system, the more spiritual intelligence and wisdom we can share with ourselves and with others. How we live our own lives generates a quality of being, a quality of energy. We are not inflicting this on others. We're simply making choices that feel comfortable to us. Being in a state of being able to choose comfortably is a gift. Most of us, most who are listening to me, have food in a refrigerator and have a home with a comfortable bed, a floor, a roof. This is part of our give back to the world. If we have money to donate, if we have time and energy and skills to donate, to simply give. I hate the word donate because it seems like we're giving something away and we're not really doing that. We're appropriately sharing what is appropriate. Just as water seeks its own level, half of a lake can never be higher than the other half. The water always flows to create the same level throughout a body of water. So too, we're called to do the same thing. If we don't have to spend 16 hours a day fighting for food and water, we can give some amount each day to simply meditating, to simply being, and finding that quality of being within us that reflects grace and ease and gentleness. In so doing, we position ourselves in a way to maintain that vibration as we interact with others and move throughout our day. This is what deflates a narcissist. This is what deflates bullies. There is no reaction. As we clear out our own unconscious truths, we can more fully inhabit those truths that are truths right now, today, and we can release those truths that we tag as false beliefs. They worked for us for a while. They got us through certain moments in life, certain conditions, but they no longer serve us. What is yours to do now is going to arise from the vibration that is being built by your soul and your body together. With each moment we have a choice. Who are we? How does our soul express through us? With grace and kindness and compassion, as we spend time remembering that within us, it is so much easier to express that into the world, especially in the face of difficult, challenging, unhealthy, unlife-giving qualities of energy. May this moment in time be a gift to each of us to remember more fully and more deeply who we are and how we are meant to serve in this lifetime. And as we close, we simply thank those beings who have been with us today. Your own guides, your own angels. Just take a moment. What one thing would be useful for you to know right now? And gently thank and release that conscious, magnified connection, knowing that you can always return and always listen more later. And just bring your awareness back into the room, into those nature spirits that have stepped forward in unconditional love and are part of holding that sphere around the room. Gently letting those nature spirits cleanse anything from this meditation that they can escort homeward. Anything within themselves, within the room, within you and your body. And then we thank and release them from holding the sphere and release our conscious connection to them. And then the same for those nature spirits of the land directly beneath the room. Those again at unconditional love, vibrating at their level of unconditional love. Those in the land beneath, just we thank them and we welcome them to clear, to cleanse, to escort home all those energies that may have settled within themselves, within the land beneath, within the floor of your room, that pertain right now to this meditation. Any energies ready to be released, letting these energies that are ready to be released move out, and letting them be escorted homeward by the nature spirits of the land beneath at their level of unconditional love. And those nature spirits of the land beneath at unconditional love can release from holding the sphere as we release our own conscious connection to them. And that wonderful pure energy of nature that has bound these together into a sphere, that wonderful pure energy of nature that can magnify our own physical healing process and deepens our connection into the sacred energies of the earth herself. We always have some amount of connection to it. We always have a connection into the pure energy of nature. For this meditation, we simply magnified that connection. That magnification may also serve as a means to promote a bit of healing around some physical issue you may be experiencing. And you can return into your magnified connection to the pure energy of nature just by thinking about it. As with most spiritual connections, it's not we who somehow have to do something. We simply need to relax into the connection that is already present. We don't need to do anything more than simply relax into those unique and consistent, constant connections that we already have with spiritual energies, including the pure energy of nature. But for right now, we're just going to gently thank and release the magnification of our connection to the pure energy of nature. And just allowing it to step back and release itself from holding the sphere. And I also thank and release any other connections that have been made, knowing that each of you will simply continue on with your day and to be about your own service in whatever way is appropriate now. I thank you for joining me today. And if you're interested in more of the information aspect, I'm available on Substack as Norma Gentili. And you can find much more and a newsletter on my website, healingchance.com. I thank you for your participation. And just let yourself relax and just absorb and process whatever more of an energetic movement might want to happen now. Namaste.